Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to introduce the Test of Time Awards. The ACL Executive Committee this year decided to institute a Test of Time Award to honor the papers which have had a great impact on our field. This is actually the NACL chair last year had started with this initiative, and the ACL executive took it on, and now it's becoming a regular yearly event for us. The exec decided that we need to look back, not just at recent time, but going back a bit further, and so we instituted two Test of Time Awards, one from 25 years ago, which for this year is 1994, and one for 10 years ago, which is 2009. Papers from any ACL event or venue are eligible, so from the journals, the ACL meetings and the chapters meeting, and any ACL workshops. So what was the process this year? I will describe briefly before I come to the more interesting part, which papers are the winners. We have a nominating committee that was chaired by Julia Hockenmeyer. The nominating committee was composed of the CL editor and the chapter presidents and the presidents and chairs of all the 6 that had a workshop in at least one of those 2 years. They produced a short list of 4 papers for each of 94 and 2009. And then a judging committee, co-chaired by Chris Manning and Irina Gurevich, who deliberated over the winners. I thank them so very much. They did an amazing job in a very, very short amount of time. So the way I'm going to do this is, first of all, talk about the, excuse me, is this working? Yes, better. I can see better. All right. So the Test of Time Award for 1994, I will first mention the 4 papers on the short list and then announce the winner. So the 4 nominees in alphabetical order by first author are Regular Models of Phonological Rule Systems by Kaplan and Kay, published in Computational Linguistics. An Algorithm for Pronominal Anaphora Resolution by Lapin and Lias, published in Computational Linguistics. Tagging English text with a probabilistic model by Merialdo, published in Computational Linguistics, and Verb Semantics and Lexical Selections by Wu and Palmer, published at the annual meeting of the ACL that year. Drum roll, the winner for 1994 is Tagging English Text with a Probabilistic Model by Merialdo. The motivation, one of the very first papers to compare training of probabilistic models for part-of-speech tagging using a mix of labeled and unlabeled data. It inspired a generation of researchers to investigate whether probabilistic models could be estimated from unannotated data. Its elegant experimental design and clear presentation of a negative result make it pedagogically very useful. So, for all the young people in the audience, a great paper to read and be inspired by. At this point, we would want, of course, to honor the author in person, but he couldn't be with us today, so he sent 2 slides and a video that I will share with you now. So, Professor Merialdo, in his own words, he is now a professor emeritus at Eurocom in France. He describes himself as follows: a lazy mathematician who caught the CS virus and naively thought that computers would do his job for him, but realized that computers are dumb, so searched for ways to make them smarter. He started working for IBM because he did not have to pay for computer time, although he had to use IBM machines. Was quickly convinced that numbers may contain knowledge and started playing with language models, and then went back to academia to spread the probabilistic world to the multimedia world. Why this award? in his word, why he thinks he got this award, and he will speak shortly by himself. I mean, this is not real time. He says, I learned about HMM and part-of-speech models from the IBM speech recognition group in TJ Watson. My contribution was to design and run the tagging experiments in the paper. The speech recognition group did not really care about part-of-speech models, so they did not publish much. My paper came at the right time to inspire other people to use these techniques. And now let's hear from him in person.
Hello. I'm really sorry that I cannot be in Florence right now. When I received the message for this award, my travel plans for the summer were already set, and unfortunately it was not possible for me to change my schedule. I was a bit surprised with this award because it gets me back to the early days of my career. After my PhD, I started working in the IBM French Scientific Center in Paris. And with my colleague Anne-Marie de Rouault, we were lucky that we could collaborate closely with the speech recognition group of the IBM TJ Watson Research Center in New York. This group was headed by Frédéric Jelinek and contained a number of extremely brilliant people, including Bob Mercer, Lalit Ball, Peter de Souza, Peter Brown, Michael Piccioni, David Nahamo, and many others. This group was one of the first in the world to apply machine learning at a large scale, replacing knowledge with data, in particular with hidden Markov models. Everything that I know about language modeling, I learned from them. I was lucky that I could spend a 2-year assignment in this group, and I arrived at the time where they were just starting a new project on automatic translation with probabilistic model, an approach that has now revolutionized machine translation. Actually, my first duty was to participate in the cleaning of large corpora of text that were needed to train these models. Later, I worked on different types of language models, including decision trees and part-of-speech models, and this is where I performed the tagging experiment that I reported in the paper. For these experiments, the techniques were well known, and my personal contribution was the use of a mix of supervised and unsupervised learning, one of the early examples that shows that unlabeled data could be useful to complement labeled data. These techniques were not very difficult, but they were quite general and powerful and could be used in many cases, and this is probably the reason for the impact of this paper. Again, I would like to thank the ACL committee for this award. I'm really sorry that I cannot be here, and I wish everybody a successful conference. Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to the 2009 award. Again, I will announce the 4 papers that were on the short list, and then again the winner. All right, so for 2009, for the Test of Time Award, we have Fast, Cheap, and Creative, Evaluating Translation Quality Using Amazon's Mechanical Turk by Callison Birch from EMNLP. Unsupervised Learning of Narrative Schemas and Their Participants by Chambers and Jurasky at the joint conference of the ACL and the International Joint Conference on the AFNLP. We have Distant Supervision for Relation Extraction Without Labeled Data by Mintz, Bills, Snow, and Jurasky at the same joint conference. And then Recognizing Contextual Polarity, an exploration of features for phrase-level sentiment analysis by Wilson, Wiebe, and Hoffman, published in Computational Linguistics. Ready? And the winner is Recognizing Contextual Polarity, an exploration of features for phrase-level sentiment analysis by Teresa Wilson, Jen Wiebe, and Paul Hoffman, published in Computational Linguistics. I will read the motivation. It's a seminal paper on sentiment analysis. It introduced the concept of conceptual polarity for sentiment terms They can change their polarity, including having neutral polarity given a certain context. They provided a comprehensive analysis of features, word level, dependency, sentence level, and topic that explain and predict contextual meaning. The corpus, nuanced approach to polarity, and inventory of features have greatly affected subsequent work. And I am so pleased that we actually have here with us Teresa Wilson. She is an assistant professor at Hanover College in Indiana in the United States and self-defined as a computer scientist who loves language. And I would like to invite her now to the stage. Please welcome.